Get into the world of celebrities and Bravolebs with What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. I discuss the mess of it all, from reality TV, Hey Housewives, to iconic pop culture moments in the making. We are talking about it all. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Welcome to the pod. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. Welcome to Toxic, but it is Tuesday, because yes, it is Tuesday. There's a lot going on. I haven't seen you guys in a week. I celebrated my birthday in Cancun. Unfortunately, that means I'm older. I'm on the other end of my 20s now. Technically, they would say, I'm closer to 30. I still consider 26 mid-20s. I don't think you're really late 20s until you're like 28, like literally 2 years before 30. So I'm still in my mid-20s. I'm still a spring chicken, as Portia would say, not an age 10. Or who said it? Eva said a spring chicken. I am not an aged hen. But no, I hate getting older. Like, I honestly do hate getting older. But fortunately, that means I am wiser. So that's a good thing we could talk about. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys have enjoyed the week off. It's good to be back on the pod. It's good to take breaks. It's good to celebrate your birthday. I feel like everyone should be off for their birthday. And yes, it's just good to be back. I hope you guys are following me on social media, even though I haven't been posting on my What the Reality pod channel because I was off. But now I'll be posting. If you guys really want to see all my hot takes and stuff, please tune into that TikTok, because that's where I really post everything. Instagram and YouTube Shorts is kind of difficult because like the upload time takes forever, but I am trying to post on there too. But some days it's like I literally can fall asleep. I'll have like content to go out and I'll fall asleep, and it's like the content's never being pushed out because it's like, oh, the upload time took this amount of time. XYZ. Like, I just feel like sometimes the upload time for those platforms is excessive for a 30-second video, hence why I'm always on TikTok. How are you guys doing? This is another Toxic, but it is Tuesday, and Real Housewives of Atlanta is over, and I'm so glad my show lined up to how it was. Make sure you guys, if you haven't, you listen to What's the Reality on Portia Williams and Simon Gabadia's relationship. I have a part 1 and a part 2 out. And that kind of closed us out of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Very timely. I don't know what next topic I'm going to talk about, so please let me know what topics you guys would like to see. Make sure you are commenting and leaving my podcast a 5-star rating. Let me know on TikTok what other topics I should dive into, because I really don't know. Like, I have a whole list of topics I'm going to dive into, but, my schedule is like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So it's like, I really don't think I'm gonna be doing it. It depends what next topic I do, depending on what stuff is starting to air. But yes, if you haven't listened to, make sure you listen to What's the Reality on Portia and Simon relationship. I got that part 2 up before I literally was jetting off to Cancun. I had like a 6 a.m. flight. It was crazy. Cancun, that was my first time out of the country besides Toronto. They are not making you take off your shoes at the airport, so I can wear my cute sandals and not have to worry about putting socks over my feet. Even though I will still do that, if it's giving that, I'll always have the socks ready on deck because I refuse to touch airport floor. That's a different type of breed, but I will have socks on deck just in case. But what is going on, you guys? Have you guys enjoyed the week? I've enjoyed the week off. I think it just puts a lot in perspective. I really needed a good week off. I got the hair done again. I know it's like the same hairstyle, but this one is lighter and it just feels lighter on my head. And in Cancun, we were swimming in the cenotes. Hair was getting wet. Hair was feeling heavy. The way I took my braids down, I got back. I did Cancun Friday to Monday. Started taking out my hair Tuesday, Wednesday. For real, it was like Tuesday through Thursday because I really wasn't taking it down because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't find someone to do my hair. So last minute, hit up my mom's girl to do my hair. I'm obsessed with it. She was able to do it Friday. And yes, I was tying up some loose ends. I was really off of work for a good week, which I also needed. Was off from the pod, off from the newsletter. Now I'm back in the swing of things. And it's just nice to take a break, get a new fresh perspective on life. refocus, zone in. I am trying to move this year, beginning next year. So it's just nice to refocus and, yes, just reset the goals and just a nice fresh cleanse. Speaking of cleanses, I am starting a cleanse. I'm starting a fish cleanse, which is crazy. I love fish. I could eat fish for the rest of my life. So I'm cutting out like other meats and I'm just eating strictly fish and like turkey, bacon for my morning. So I'm gonna be doing a fish cleanse. I hope I don't break out from that. Hopefully it's not fishy or nothing down there. But it's just so inappropriate. I'm just saying, like, I will be eating fish. Like I had shrimp today. I'm gonna be having some more fish later. I'm gonna be eating fish for the next month because I just want a good cleanse. And I just want a good cleanse before fall. I love to do these cleanses. And yes, fish, maybe I'll do chicken every once in a while if I'm feeling weak, but I really don't think I'll feel weak off of fish. There's so many different fishes. And you know what I discovered in Mexico, which I already knew about, sea bass. The way they were prepping that, the resort we stayed at, you guys, gorgeous. Like, I've never done anything like that in my life. And it's like, it was just amazing to be in Mexico. Like, this is my first time being out of the country besides going to Toronto. And it's been a traveling summer. That was my last trip. It was like kind of like the finale. I went to Cedar Point Sunday. It has been a very busy summer, and I know it's like August is still here, but it kind of feels like my summer is like winding down because it's been like nonstop since May. And like now I can finally like play catch up for a lot of stuff. But that's what I have had going on. I hope you guys have been enjoying your summer, but it is winding down. Hence why I'm doing a fish cleanse to really make me feel good in time for fall. And yes, though I am a summer baby, I appreciate fall more because I love a good leather pant and boots and dress like the long dresses. I prefer those looks. I'm over the heat. Once my birthday passes, especially, like, I'm over the heat. The weather in Cancun, though, was beautiful. This is a toxic, but it is Tuesday episode. And we don't have any Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore. I don't know if I mentioned, yes, Portia and Simons, make sure you tune in, listen to that on the pod, because that closed us out. That closed Atlanta out. I'm watching King's Court, but not religiously on Sundays. Like, I didn't even watch it today, so I still gotta watch that. I'm watching Beyond the Villa, kinda on and off. I restarted RHOM from season 5 because I was like, let me just put something on in the background. I think I'm gonna start Gilded Age soon. But yeah, I don't know what's taking Sunday's place. Married to Medicine just finished wrapping. They're filming Potomac. I don't know what's happening with Potomac. I don't see anything happening with that until like November. King's Court isn't gonna last that long. Miami's moving to Thursdays. We have some stuff to talk about. We're really gonna be talking about in this episode reality topics for this toxic, but it's Tuesday. I'm probably gonna talk about one show, which will be Miami. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Valley, but a lot of reality shows are wrapping up right now. Salt Lake is supposed to be ramping up. We're gonna talk about the teaser, but I don't watch OC, so I don't recap OC. And then the only thing that's really on the Housewife is Miami. So I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna become very whatever's on reality TV. We do have a Love Island reunion happening this week. But in terms of my toxic, but it's Tuesdays episodes, they're transitioning more into reality topic Tuesdays, basically. And we're just gonna really shoot the stuff, whatever I'm watching. Let me know what I should be watching. I mean, there's always a reality show on the bright side. But yeah, there's no more Atlanta. There's no more Sunday Grand episode on. That's why I'm like, why? I don't know what show they're gonna move to Sundays. I don't know if they're moving OC to Sundays, but Sundays are normally Black Sundays on Bravo. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that Sunday slot because, like I said, King's Court is only 8 to 10 episodes. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, with the Sundays, but let's dive right into the reality topics. I think I want to start off with some rumors that were knocking this Tuesday. And this is stuff I haven't recorded or updated you guys since August 1st. I mean, it's been like a whole 10 days. So I'm going to be probably talking about stuff y'all are like, oh my gosh, that's so old. But it's like we haven't talked about it. So is it old, or is it just like the news cycle obviously like never ends, but it's like it's not really old news. It's just like this happened like a week ago. We never talked about it. I want to talk about Lindsay Hubbard because Bravo and Cocktails is reporting that Lindsay Hubbard is getting a rumored spinoff, and people are shocked that she's not going to be on the new Roni. So, words on that, because I don't know why they framed it like Lindsay is getting a spinoff. What we do know is that because Paige DeSorbo did do an interview, I can't remember with who, but she's like she's not coming to reality TV anytime soon. She doesn't see it for herself in that way. And she's like, she just felt like she was taking up space in Summer House for someone that really did want to be there, like people that deserve to be there, which you gotta really like respect about Paige DeSorbo. But my thing is, they really framed it as like Lindsay Hubbard's spinoff is rumored to start filming September 1st. We do know typically she would be at Summer House until Labor Day. They do the big Labor Day epic finale party. Something happens. We do know she was not there for 4th of July. Lindsay has slowly been winging herself out of Summer House. We thought she was going to be on the new Roni, especially she was posted up with the girls. She was posted up with Aaron. She was posted up with Jessel. I feel like she was posted up with somebody else. It was like a weird random group of people because I think she was posted with Heidi Montag too. But I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to, the new Roni. I don't think that is the case because we're going to talk about Carol Radziwill's triumphant return to Watch What Happens Live. Like, we have to talk about that. But basically, okay, I forgot what I was saying. Carol Radziwill's triumphant return. Regardless, we thought Lindsay Hubbard was going to be on the new Roni. New Roni is looking slimmer and slimmer. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe there will be an announcement at BravoCon in November. We'll stay tuned for that. Either way, they framed it as if Lindsay is getting a spinoff. And I'm one of the first Lindsay Hubbard stans. I don't know what possibly her spinoff could be about because I know with the baby daddy who she is not currently with, does not want to be on TV, does not want the daughter on TV, but she's a personality. I don't know if she's tapping back into that PR firm life. I don't understand what her spinoff would be about, but hey, I'm never going to turn down any time to see Lindsay Hubbard on my screen. I do think she's an amazing Leo woman. I see myself a lot in Lindsay, a lot of good in Lindsay. I'll say that. And I don't know, I think she's a really good reality star, but I'm very curious to see what this spinoff would be about before we talk about the Carol. But she's not going to be on the new Roni as of now. I wonder if she will make an appearance or two at a party. I don't know what her spinoff is going to be about. There wasn't much details. Who also did not give details, of course, is Thirsty Joe Gorga. Real Housewives in New Jersey, there was a blind item sent about the new Real Housewives of New Jersey, like that's coming back. It's only going to bring back 2 to 3 OGs. Dolores apparently has secured her spot. I can't remember the names because I haven't watched that in a while. Jen is nowhere in talks of returning. It's between Marge, Jackie, Teresa, and Melissa returning. But Dolores has basically secured her spot. We know she's going to be on Rhode Island. So basically 2 to 3 OGs will be returning. And that's including Dolores. So basically 2 out of the 4 names I just listed. They had their annual benefit for the softball game that Melissa, the Gorgas do. It looked pretty empty, and that's probably because the Judices were not there. But you see Joe Gorga whispering to a fan saying, "We are so back." Something like that. He's so thirsty. The disdain I have for that little man is insane. I just think they are some scammers. I think it's weird how they're always moving. And I think they need to be careful before they end up like the Chrisleys. I can't stand the Gorgas. And someone tweeted, it's like, if Gorgas don't even have fans, you just have people that hate Teresa Giudice. And that sums it up perfectly, because I don't think Teresa is perfect by far. And the people love to argue Gorgas versus Giudice. But if I'm being honest, like, I've always been on Teresa's side. I do think her brother coming on that show changed their relationship, and definitely I can understand her not wanting to share the spotlight with her brother and sister-in-law. Um and yeah, I understand Teresa. I do understand Teresa. I also understand the argument that she's jealous of Melissa. But I would say Teresa has brought more to that show, on and on and on, more than the Gorgas will ever bring. If Bravo does decide to, bring them on full time, it'll be very interesting to see what kind of step they take, because it seems as though whenever they are on the show, they are trying to kind of like get a reaction out of Teresa, or it's like they are trying to kiss up to Teresa. I don't know the Gorgas not to have a storyline without Teresa. But then I also don't see them also having a spinoff. I can see Teresa having one. It'll be interesting. Nonetheless, Joe Gorga confirmed with the fans that he is so coming back. And then there was also a blind item sent that apparently the new show will be based on Joe Gorga and his guy friends, like the house husbands. And it's taking that direction, which I do not buy. I wouldn't be shocked if the Gorgas submitted that blind item in theirself. I don't buy that at all, that that's the direction Bravo's taking. It is not house husbands. It is housewives. Do I think some house husbands can save the show? Yes. Like Atlanta in their prime, yes. Like Roni in their prime, yes. Beverly Hills in their prime, yes. But New Jersey, I can understand why you'd want to take that direction, but that's a reach. Who knows if they're returning? I just feel like Joe is too involved in female business. I always call him Georgina. Just like we got Patricia in Atlanta. I call Joe Gorga Georgina. I don't really like him. So I hope they're not back, because I haven't watched New Jersey in a while. And if it's Joe Gorga and Melissa, it will continue to be a while for me. But I don't know, some people love him. They think he's comedic. I think he's corny. So we'll see if that's the direction Bravo's going. I highly doubt it. But that was another blind item sent. Let's talk about me wanting to not see this. Larsa Pimpin's face. I got to pull up the receipts, because the girl is saying she actually had a reaction. I'm going to try to remember to bring up a picture of the face. If I don't, you guys definitely know what her face looks like. There's a viral picture of her face going around. She looks a literal mess. Let me see, because I definitely saved it. And she was basically saying that she had a reaction to something, which was very unfortunate if so. Okay, so I'm going to play this video, but basically this is like how her face looked. You guys see? Her face looks atrocious. So this is what she's basically saying happened. And this is from a source on Twitter. This is TMSPM, but this is clearly from her Instagram story that I'm about to play.
Someone made it look like that, because this is what my face looks like, you guys. I'm on TV, so you know what I look like. I just shot my reunion a couple of days ago, so you'll see what I look like at my reunion. I did have PRP. I did have an allergic reaction to the PRP, which I didn't even know you can have. So my face is a bit swollen, but it doesn't look like that. So keep on hating, guys.
One thing you have to say about Larsa, she really does not care. So she really do not care. So then this, and then someone was saying something else about, okay, then this certified physician responded from AKA Honey, double board certified physician. This is a comment. The K the CAGA Academy, the CAG Academy. This is a comment, has over like 6,000 likes. Allergic reactions to PRP are extremely rare. You simply will not find allergies to your own blood cells all that common. Second, allergic reactions don't last 3 seasons on a streaming network. Honestly, this post really was not about Larsa, but about cautioning the current and future generations about being overtreated and overfilled unnecessarily and covering up your own natural features that make you uniquely beautiful. If even one person can learn from us pointing out what being overfilled looks like, it's worth this week a clapback. So it comes from this girl. She did a whole video explaining everything like that is wrong with Larsa's face. Not even wrong, but just like this is what an overfilled face looks like. Larsa has done way too much to her face. And Larsa decided to hit back in the comments and was basically like, I had PRP and a terrible allergic reaction. And the physician was like, this wasn't even about that. This is about you doing too much filler over the past 3 seasons. The picture looks bad, you guys. Let me remember to insert it. And there's no getting away from that because the picture just looks atrocious. But yeah, so Larsa's claiming she had a reaction. I don't know. The picture looks bad. She just looks overfilled. She looks overstuffed. She looks like a potato. She looks bad. She looks really bad. That's all I can literally say. Okay, let's see. I'm just realizing my computer's not even charging. I'm like, let me grab my charger. I just realized I didn't need it to charge. I'm like, my battery's dying. Oh my gosh, it's not being charged. Okay, so Larsa's saying she had a PRP reaction. Let's get into some other reality topics on this fine Toxic Tuesdays. I want to talk about something that's being extremely toxic. It's a Sydney Sweeney ad campaign. And you know, I'm always shocked by when a show blows up, you know, like Euphoria. Like Euphoria. I'm always shocked that it was Sydney Sweeney that blew up and not Alexa Demi. And they always say it's like an age thing. Alexa Demi, we don't really know her age. So it's kind of like, of course, the blonde, the one with the good genes. You see what I did there? Blew up. So she did this ad with American Eagle about her jeans. Clearly was focusing on her butt. I mean, her breasts, though. Because that's all her stuff focuses on. It's given one trick pony at this point. It's her breasts. I mean, she has amazing breasts. Those are voluptuous, and she looks good. I think she's 26. She looks good. A lot of her ads, though, always end up about the breast. So it's this ad about her having good genes. People are like, what is this mockery? Because it's like you have good genes as a white blonde woman with blue eyes, and it's focusing on that. And they're trying to make a hit at like the good genes, you know, American Eagle. But a lot of people are dissecting it further, especially given our social climate we are in right now. It's kind of taking it a step forward of like good genes with a G. She has good genes because she is a white woman in society with blonde hair and blue eyes. So the people aren't liking that. My perspective, it's also over sexualizing American Eagle, which I personally thought American Eagle was a lot more attainable to teenagers. So I don't know what message they're clearly trying to send, but they're clearly over sexualizing her. And I wish Sydney Sweeney would realize that. It's like, that's why you're really not taken serious in Hollywood, is because every single thing you do has something to do with your big knockers. And it's like, girl, I get it. You got it, flaunt it. But it's like every single ad you do has something to do with the breast and not the product itself. So they're trying to do like a spin on it that way. People are reading more into it. Doja Cat was not a fan of it. You know, Lizzo was not a fan with it, a fan of it. And like I said, just given the social climate we're in with this monster in office, like for you to be bragging about having good genes, American Eagle is notoriously a white, very, I don't even know how to say it. It's a white brand. I have worn American Eagle jeans. I honestly prefer Abercrombie for collection, but I've tried both of them and I prefer Abercrombie. Obviously they both have the same checkered history when it comes to diversity and racism, but I'm just saying there's this ad out here that is explicitly saying you have good genes because you're a white, blonde, blue-eyed woman. Whatever. What I'm enjoying right now is the discourse is because now Levi's has, of course, teamed up with Beyonce. And they said, no, these are some good jeans. And now the racist is out on Twitter saying what they ordered versus what they got. I'm sorry, if I ordered anything that has Sydney Sweeney on it and it came looking like on me as Beyonce, that a win's a win. But people are upset because in this campaign for Beyonce and Levi's, Beyonce is clearly in a blonde wig. It's jeans, it's denim, it's rhinestone. So it's kind of just like that swag that Black culture has. And they're saying how we're basically starting something out of nothing, like how Beyonce is trying to be a white woman. She's bleaching her skin. I don't think people realized back in the 2000s, you can even look at Ashanti. I use Ashanti as an example because when I look at her, even from her Foolish album cover, Ashanti was like 3 shades darker. Beyonce's one album cover for one of her first ones, Dangerously in Love, she's 4 shades deeper. Like they weren't, it was in them to be deep. Even when you weren't, these girls were self-tanning to get that look. And when you watch Nelly and Ashanti, you see how light actually Ashanti is. I was like, wait, is Ashanti bleaching her skin? No, it's just back then they were all tanning. And someone has came forward about that. I can't think of the celebrities, a Black celebrity, but like you would be tanning because that's what was in. So no, some of these celebrities are bleaching their skin. I will say that. But some of them it's like, no, we're just in our natural skin tone. And a lot of people are like saying Beyonce wants to be white. They don't understand the significance of Cowboy Carter. Needless to say, this whole Sydney Sweeney versus Beyonce, these ad campaigns, I want more out of Sydney Sweeney's career for herself. I want her to be taken seriously as an actor because I do think she's a good actor. I think she's gorgeous. I think she could be the next Megan Fox. But we see what happened with Megan Fox. Megan Fox basically, went into hiding. She was sick of she was sick of being overly sexualized. She was sick of all of that. And I'm hoping this isn't the same case for Sydney Sweeney. Political views aside, I do think she could be the next Megan Fox of our generation. But you are also always accepting these roles and these deals that are overly sexualizing you and kind of always you can never just be good. You're always like not good. It's always something going on. Like it's never can just be an ad campaign. Like it's always something, an underlining issue. That's my only hope for Sydney Sweeney is she grows from this. It's giving me pop culture, Kendall Jenner, Pepsi, terrible commercial. Like, I just feel like Sydney Sweeney will never be taken serious. Like, I feel like Kendall Jenner will never be taken serious. Like, it's like, I hope you don't let your breasts lead you into these sort of campaigns because it's like I think the biggest issue with the campaign is the over-sexualization of Sydney Sweeney. The jeans thing, I get it. It's like, it's like walking that fine line, especially in this economy. It's like, we're kind of like, we're painting it. We're kind of like testing the waters. Whatever. It didn't work for some people. The only thing that didn't work for me is we're not focused on the jeans. We're focused on her breasts. So it's just like, girl, I hope you can have a long-standing career, because once those breasts drop, they will drop. And we see what happens with Pamela Anderson. I mean, she's in a nice, healthy state now. But you see what happens when these celebrities are overly sexualized. They crash out and then they become irrelevant. And Pamela Anderson now is so lucky because she is getting this resurgence, again. And like, she's always been that girl, but I'm just saying, like, she crashed out over that whole divorce thing. I just hope Sydney Sweeney has the right team around her. Seems like they're really leaning into this over sexualization. The whole Good Genes thing, I see what they're trying to do there, but don't be mad when Beyonce tries to do it back. Levi's a more inclusive brand. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Let's get into Real Housewives of Miami. There were so many other topics I want to talk about. Like, of course, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City teaser, which was just a little teaser. There's nothing really to talk about, but I am excited once that starts coming out because they're doing a lot of more press. Of course, I want to talk about Carol Radziwill and her possibly coming back with the OG Roni girls, because I do have some theories on that. I want to save that for Friday's episode, though, because like I said, this is going to be more reality topic based, but I also wanted to talk about Miami, a little bit about the Valley. And I have some theories when it comes to the Carol Radziwill stuff, and I really want to get into that separately on a different episode, because I do think now that she's been back to the clubhouse, I think the likelihood of Roni legacy or something like that happening is happening very soon. And I'm just trying to see what the rumblings are. I want to do more research on that. And then I also want to recap that. I also want to talk about in my Friday episode, Kandi Burruss and the Todd Chrisley interview, which I'm very interested in watching. The people are not fans of Kandi Burruss right now. And let's get into, and I want to talk about Erica Jane on Friday's episode because that girl is facing a lawsuit. So we got some topics to look forward to on Friday's episode. Let's get into Real Housewives of Miami. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Valley. I'm not really concerned about the Valley because I want to get into Real Housewives of Miami. Let's start with this seating chart. So the seating chart did come out, and to my shock, Alexia was first, and I was not expecting Alexia to be first. I was actually trolling in the comments. I'm like, Alexia's going to throw a temper tantrum when she realizes she's not first. And then someone made a good point. They're like, how many of these women are actually writing into their contract that they should be first? Because Alexia has made the point very clear that she feels like she needs to be like a number one housewife next to Andy, like every single time. Given her performance this season, I would have put her at third seat for sure. I definitely thought Julia and Guerdy were going to be first seats because there's been so much contention in that relationship. And, Julia and Guerdy have been going back and forth on social media. That did not happen, unfortunately. But Stephanie is close to Real Housewives, to Andy Cohen. And she joins this elite group of first-time newbies that have sat by Andy. And you know who people leave out? And I only am knowing this is because I just finished watching Roni. They leave out Aviva Drescher. Aviva Drescher was also one of the first newbies to snag a seat right by Andy Cohen at a reunion. We talk about Monica, of course, of Salt Lake City. We talk about someone else too. But people leave out Aviva Drescher, and she did get a first seat. But okay, so the reunion, we got Andy Cohen, and then we got Stephanie, Lisa, Guerdy, Adriana. I don't even know why Lisa's second. But then on the other side, we have Alexia, Larsa, Julia, Marisol, Kiki. So yeah, I personally would have done Guerdy and Julia, at least if they weren't going to be first seed. I was definitely going to do them for second seed, but whatever. It shows what's going on in Bravo with production. The ladies are also, the after show is supposed to be starting this week. We're going to have 2 Miami episodes. So I might be talking about 2 Miami episodes on Friday. They're airing back to back for some reason. I feel like Bravo always does Miami bad. I'm not going to lie. But that's the reunion seating chart. I don't dislike Stephanie. There was some tea Emily Hanks dropped on her pod about Stephanie being the other woman and actually being the other woman's assistant. So Muhammad, I think is his name. What's his name? I don't know what his name is. Her husband built this whole real estate thing with his wife. She was the assistant to the wife, basically was creeping in, and then got close with, I think it's Masood, got close with him, changed her name to his while he was still going through his divorce. It was very messy. That's the alleged tea as to why her sisters don't talk to her, because they don't probably mess with that. I think it's really interesting how her parents, the sisters don't talk to the parents. I want that tea. But that's the only reason. I think Stephanie's like an imposter. I think she's trying to live this life like she's had it or she's been born with it. Like she just like a granny. I don't know. She's a front. She front to me. Like, you know, that's something they say in like Cali. Like you a fronter, like a fronter, like you front. She's a poser to me. So I don't know, but I am enjoying her keeping her stiletto, her Chanel stiletto on Alexia's neck and those terrible arms. Because I'm just like, Alexia, you can do as much as you want to the face, but if you are not doing arm day in the gym, you will look your age just by looking at your arms. Alexia be looking beautiful, head up, and then you look at her arms, and it's just like, oh yeah, she's like 70 years old. Because even Marisol arms look better than that. I'm like, Alexia, you need to stop touching your face and wearing all that makeup and go to the gym and do your arm day, because your arms look crazy, girl. Like, no amount of like surgery can cover up just truly how I just don't like Alexia, and I don't want to hit at her physical, but she needs to do something with them arms. So Stephanie is keeping her stiletto on Alexia's arms, and I'm here for it. I am shocked Guerdy was not first, at least second, especially because the Larsa and Lisa feud does not seem as big to me. It seemed very childish, but whatever. Unsolicited advice as a Black woman, Guerdy, if I were you, I'd get off the show, especially because it's giving Kiki's your op. So let's talk about Miami. Kiki is Guerdy's op. She don't like her, the fact that she got a mojito. Kiki is taking the Bose route. And I liked Kiki, but I don't think I was ever like a big fan of Kiki, because I did think she talked about sex a lot. Like, I was just like, whatever, girl. I thought she was gorgeous, but like, I did like Guerdy, but do I think Guerdy does a lot? Yes, but I think everyone on that cast does a lot. I do think Guerdy can be annoying as well. But I don't like that Kiki is doing the Bose route, which I saw on Beverly Hills, like Garcelle. Not all skin folk are kinfolk. I mean, and that's just what the reality is. It's giving Kiki's fighting for Guerdy's spot. She doesn't think both of them can coexist in this white space. And I find that just very interesting, especially y'all both being Haitian. But hey, just because you're Black doesn't mean you both need to be on the show. I think my issue with Kiki is how she's posing as a friend to Guerdy and then running back to the ladies every time Guerdy is confiding into her, taking her words out of context, running it back to the ladies and kind of twisting it. Like the whole cult thing. Of course the ladies would take offense to that. But if she's confiding in you and saying it feels like a cult, like it feels like XYZ, and you're taking that specifically from the conversation to run back to the ladies, I'm looking at I'm looking at Kiki very differently. I'm looking at her very weirdly. I'm looking at her in a Bose way. I'm like, oh, you're just trying to be in. But even Bose wasn't doing that because her and Garcelle didn't have that type of rapport. We actually see Guerdy and Kiki kick it and stuff. But I haven't been feeling Kiki since the first episode when she sat her down and was like, the ladies think you're too much. When it's like, well, Kiki, what do you think they're going to say about you once you start full time? It's this whole survival of the fittest Black woman edition. Let's talk about it. For some reason, when we see a Black woman on these reality shows, we don't think more than one can coexist together. And I don't think the Black women feel that way either. I think one of them feel like, okay, well, you're the weaker link. You got to go. Well, what do you bring to the show? You got to go. I think especially on these predominantly white casts. And that's why I didn't watch the full episode of Lonnie Love and Adriana Demora on Watch Happens Live. But I do agree with Lonnie to a point about keeping the shows white and Black. And yes, that sounds crazy as heck to say as a Black woman, But it's almost as if when we start mixing the two, the Black women are out for each other. It's like we cannot coexist in this space. Or the Black women are totally criticized. It's like we have a perfect example of we got Ebony on Roni. She didn't belong in that space. And that is coming from me because I thought it was too much on Roni. I was like, we don't watch Roni for political views. Take that to Potomac. You know what I mean? We watch Roni to watch these ladies get drunk and be ignorant. And when you watch that final nail in the coffin of a season for Roni, it was just a lot to constantly watch Ebony try to educate them. And I know it was in her best interest and for the best, in the group's best interest, and to save face as a network because they were all up in that COVID stuff. I mean, Ramona was out there partying and acting like she didn't care. But we saw what happened. Ebony didn't even get a chance to do a reunion or nothing. Show was pulled off. Like it, we see what happens when we try to mix that in, and it just doesn't work. And then we see that with Bose and Garcelle. We see Bose kind of muster up to this woman that has intentionally been a Karen to Garcelle, and Bose has been like, "Oh, I've never seen that behavior. Let me experience it for myself." Leading to Garcelle's infamous, not all skin folk is kinfolk or whatever. But, and now we're seeing it with Kiki and Guerdy. And I'm seeing Kiki trying to throw Guerdy under the bus, which someone I thought she genuinely had a true friendship with, to kind of secure her own spot on the show. Because it's like, well, both of us can't coexist on the show. It can only be one token Black woman. That's what I'm seeing, especially in Bravo. I don't know if Bravo needs to cut that out and like stop with that. But also I'm just like, Kiki, if you haven't had a mojito by this point, and I was the person rooting for her to have a mojito, especially knowing you can just hit up the yacht daddies and be like, hey, can I get a new yacht today for me and my friends? I mean, you should have a mojito. What I don't stand for is you throwing your Haitian sister, someone that you have built a friendship with, under the bus for these white women on the show. And that's what's difficult, especially knowing that there's a possible fallout happening currently in real time of Kiki unfollowing or blocking Guerdy on Instagram. Guerdy did not know this, but it's very unfortunate. And that's why I do understand what Lonnie is saying on Watch Happens Live. And I kind of agree with her to that point of like, let's keep the shows white and the shows Black, because Atlanta, we don't have this problem. Everybody can get food at the table. Potomac, we don't have this problem. Everyone can get food at the table. It's unfortunate when we start mixing in, and I want to see it done successfully, but it has to be balanced out. We can't have 5 white women on a reality show, and then we have one that was on there as a token Black woman, and then we bring in another one to kind of test the waters, and then we see the 2 Black women beefing in the corner. I don't want to see that. If that's the case, we need to get rid of some white women, and then we need to integrate more Black women. We need to even out the playing field. But that's just my opinion. Kiki is Guerdy's op, and Kiki is gunning for Guerdy's mojito. I don't know why you're not gunning for nobody else's mojito, someone that don't really deserve a mojito, like Julia, in my opinion. It would have been more joyful and riveting to watch Kiki and Guerdy team up and go for Julia, in my opinion, because this girl is coming for your Haitian sister. You guys both come from a certain lifestyle a lot of people don't understand, and you guys connected on that. So it is wild for me to see Kiki within a heartbeat kind of throw in that friendship because she wants to be in with the majority white women on the show, and she rather cast Guerdy out. But that's literally my opinion on her. I just don't like the whole going back and like telling parts of like Guerdy's conversation when it's like, we know how Guerdy is. Yes, she can talk a lot of crap and like she don't know how to land the plane, but Guerdy is by far, she's not malicious at all. And if she was saying that to you, she was definitely confiding to you. And so it's just unfortunate that you use that opportunity to kind of like backstab her and kind of like, prove to these women how you should be the token Black girl. And I'm like, saying it's like Mary saw going against Dr. Nicole. It's like Dr. Nicole's off the show and you still don't have a mojito. Like that still didn't work. So clearly Bravo is seeing something in you, Adriana, Mary saw, Kiki. You're not mojito status. You're just not. And a lot of us are shocked. I'm shocked Mary saw isn't. I'm shocked Adriana isn't. I'm shocked Kiki isn't. But apparently something is going on to where you are not the chosen ones to be holding mojitos. I'm shocked Julia still has a mojito, but that's my spill on Kiki. Very disappointed to see how she's moving in these scenes, and I don't think she'll still have a mojito. My unsolicited advice though for Guerdy is like watching this season back, she's still in like cancer phase. Like, this is remission. It's like one of the most important parts because it's like, you're in the clear, but now you're dealing with all this emotional and physical turmoil. Seeing that these women really they don't have your back. Your girl, Nicole, is gone, which I find very interesting that they're trying Guerdy all of a sudden. So it's clearly a joint effort to ostracize Guerdy out of the group. I would leave. I'm not a fan of these these humiliation trials for Black women on reality TV. I'm not really a fan of watching Guerdy having to constantly explain herself to these group of women, and explain why a text messages is worse than getting water thrown on you. I'm not a fan of the public humiliation that they're trying to do and publicly trying to ostracize her and denote her from the group. I don't like seeing Black women fight in spaces that they're not welcomed, which is why I was so happy Garcelle left. And that's why I hope things don't get rough for those. And it's why I hope Guerdy leaves, because it's like, you're not about to use me as a storyline. And then I'm still not even first seed. So I don't like where the show's direction is going. And you can call me a quitter, a failure, but enough's enough. And if I were Guerdy, you have a loving husband, amazing sons that I'm sure are going to be going off to college soon. You are the number one event planner in Miami and in some international spaces. I will focus on that. Dr. Nicole is no longer there. The dynamics surely have changed. I'm not a fan of staying somewhere unwelcome. And these women clearly are threatened by Guerdy, and they're going to try to do whatever to kind of get her off the show. That's my 2 cents on Miami. Have I been enjoying this season? Yes, I've really enjoyed Lisa and Larsa's feud. I thought that was funny, but I'm not enjoying this gang up on Guerdy, and I'm looking forward to the after show because I already sense some of the girls already switching their attitudes when it comes to Guerdy because they see social media. People you got watching social media, Alexia and Marisol, like hawks, like they care about what social media thinks. And Alexia's already kind of changed her tune with some Entertainment Tonight interviews. So I'm very interested to see how this after show is set up because we do know the after show is, filmed. I think it's like filmed like currently, like they're filming it currently. So they have seen the social media response to how they're treating Guerdy. So I'm very interested to see how they do that. And I know at the reunion, they will also be very apologetic and trying to welcome her in. And I'm interested to see if it'll flip for Julia. But what else is happening? Julia not telling her daughters about the adoption of the 2 Black boys is very bizarre to me. She said there was miscommunication. Miscommunication lets me know you did not tell your daughters you're grown. And I don't even know grown. They're like in their teenage years. You didn't tell them that you guys were adopting 2 sons. And I keep saying Black because you guys are not Black. You have adopted 2 Black boys as 2 white women in America. And you both aren't even American. Let's start there. There's so much to break down. You don't know the optics of being a Black man in America. And you got your ignorant wife, Martina, saying surrogacy is just unnatural when a lot of people can argue that adoption is not natural and it wouldn't just be in the cards. You can't have everything perfect, in the words of Martina. So now we're finding out the girls, you guys are not on good terms with the daughters because you did not tell them that you were going to adopt. And it just proves to me how selfish and how much money talks, because it's like you did not want them on air. But then as soon as you threw that water on Guerdy, you're like, we're going to have to show them on air. I'm really wondering if this adoption is true and legit, you guys, or is this just a test? Because there is a trial period of adoption. I don't know if they're gonna genuinely have these boys in a year or two. I really don't see it. Martina is 68 years old. As those daughters, I too would be upset because it's like my parents are older. If something happens to y'all, that falls on the daughters to take care of these boys, and you didn't even tell us about this. They've yet to meet them, but the cameras have met them, and these group of ladies you film with have met them. Everything Julia and Martina do is literally so performative and predictable at this point. And there's a blind item. There's a blind item that the real tea is that something happened with Captain Sandy and Julia. And that's all I'm going to say because I'm waiting for more information on that blind item. But that's the real tea, is that something had happened and Martina and Julia have not been in a good spot in their relationship for a while. Hence why she dipped out on her treatments to go get a facelift and go visit her daughter in Paris, which I think is possibly true. Um, there's something off with their relationship. I think there's something off whenever you feel like you need to adopt at that age. Like, I understand empty nesting, but I think it's such a selfish move because even Stephanie was asking, well, how old are you guys going to be when the boys are 20? Martina's already 68. So when the boys are 20, Martina is looking at a hard 80. Like, what? And I think she'll be probably older than that. She'll be like 85 or something. So, because the boys are like 3 or 4, I'm just like, the math's not mathing. It's giving performative. It's giving, we need a storyline. You did all of that. You're still not first seat. It's giving, we need to save face. I'm very curious to see if this full adoption goes through. I'm very curious to see if they have reconciled with the daughters. I doubt they have. I doubt those daughters want anything to do with them. And you could just tell Julia's letting the fame get to her head. She's not genuine at all. She doesn't want her bestie riding on a PJ with Stephanie. She's making faces whenever Adriana's mentioned, but then she wants Adriana to stand up with her. Julia is so thirsty to be friends with Alexia Marisol, and she doesn't understand that'll always be a duo. And that's one thing I will say about their relationship I respect is, like, Marisol rides for Alexia, even though she may disagree with, like, her decisions and stuff. She's going to continue to ride for her. She'll tell her that stuff off camera clearly because she do not like that Todd stuff that's going on. And you can tell so bad that Julia wants to be in with them. And it's like, even when you think you're in with them, you're never really in with them because it's like you are just doing too much. Even Larsa is noticing you doing the most and kind of doing your work, your dirty work, and hiding. I'm very interested to see these 2 next episodes come out. That's why I think I'll be talking about them again on Friday's episode. But I think people, and even Lisa has noticed because she was talking to Adriana about it, how, like, she just thinks it's interesting how you kind of, like, change that fast, that swiftly. But Julia and Martina not telling the daughters about the adoption lets me know that this adoption was done on performance based. And I don't think it'll be an adoption forever. I think it's a trial period for the show. I think they're going to come up with some BS excuse maybe a year from now, maybe even at the reunion, how they don't have the boys anymore. It didn't work out. And I think they're going to try to gloss over it. But I do not see them raising these boys for the next 18, 20 years of their life. I really don't. I really think she was bored, almost as if like Melissa Gorga wanting to have a kid because she was empty nesting. I don't think the adoption thing is going to go through fully. And if it does, for the sake of those boys, I hope that Martina and Adriana really do educate themselves on the prejudices that they do have against Black people, especially Black women, because those Black boys came from possibly a Black woman. And for Martina to say it's in Guerdy's nature, which I will never let her live down. She said it's in her nature to attack. So what are you saying? And you just adopted 2 Black boys. I will never support that decision. And I think they are disgusting. And I hope those Black boys get a stable home if it is not that home. I think it's so performative. I think Andy Cohen will be calling out Martina on the couch about her surrogate comment because he did call it out on Radio Andy. He called out Julia on Watch Up Live. She had nothing to say. She was quiet. She said, that's my partner, but I don't control her. You know what your partner is going to say. Girl, get Julia off my screen. And I bet you the moment she gets off the screen, those boys will be back at the adoption agency. Or hopefully with a better family. I don't buy anything Julia is selling on that farm. Just like I don't buy her being an opera singer. Let's talk about Stephanie. Stephanie, this is why the only reason I could see her as first C is because she's coming for the big dog, the Cuban doll, Cuban Barbie doll, Alexia. Is because she's not letting her stiletto off Alexia's arms. She's not letting it off. But she makes a very valid point in the most recent episode about Alexia having a serious belittling, bullying problem. Alexia talks down to people constantly. And she constantly wants to make it known that she's the star of the show. Like, she was born a star. Like, remember last season when Lisa was drunk? And she's like, yes, I'm a star. And then Alexia's like, well, no, I'm the star of the show. Like, Alexia is so insecure with being the number one girl because, if I'm being honest, Miami is a bunch of stars on that show. She's so insecure with being the number one girl in the group all the time that she always has to mention it. And I think Stephanie sees right through the BS. And that's why I will say Stephanie gets brownie points in my book, because Stephanie reads through her BS so effortlessly. She's like, you're constantly having to make it known that you are the Rottweiler. And why are we still fighting over the dogs thing when it's like, Alexia, you said that. But Alexia, she made a very valid point. I did have to say that. Also, Adriana did indeed and is still taking classes at Harvard. I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the episode. I was on Reddit one time. Of course, the post is deleted. Like, I can't find it. They deleted it, which I'm just like, why did you delete it? They literally deleted. But this lady was talking about taking classes this whole time with Adriana from Miami, not knowing. She said they went out for drinks one time with her group of friends. They all left. Group of friends and her were talking. Adriana had to go. Because there are certain classes Adriana has to be on campus for. Adriana is very smart. She's all like, she talks about it in this episode as Mary saw, and everyone is like doubting her liability. Like, they're like, oh, she didn't really go to Harvard. But I'm like, so this receipt was put out there beforehand. It's deleted, but it's just so crazy. It's literally so crazy to me. So I saw this Reddit post, and this girl was saying how this whole time she didn't know she was taking classes with Adriana from Miami until her friends mentioned it to her. And she was like, hey, you do know you've been hanging out with Adriana from Miami? And she's like, no, I didn't. And they said that she's like the nicest thing. She's really serious about her notes. Like, she'll offer her notes up to people. All this stuff. Needless to say, in this episode, we learned that Adriana is getting another degree or something, and she actually has to be on campus sometimes and take her classes on campus, and then sometimes it's online. And it's just crazy to me how Larsa is like trying to minimize her college experience and her college education to, I mean, you're taking class online, like I could do that. Larsa, no, you could not, because I doubt you even know what 2 + 2 means. Like, Larsa is always trying to minimize people's education and careers. Like, never forget when she minimized Dr. Nicole being an anesthesiologist and saying how, you know, that's not a real job when it's like a legit job. And now you're trying to minimize Adriana going to Harvard and taking classes online. Even if it's online completely, that is still something, Larsa, you have nothing to show for it besides being an NBA All-Stars ex who was just lucky enough. You know what I mean? Like, Larsa really pisses me off with that, like, elitist. And it's like, you are the last person to be elitist. Like, you got your name from being Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. And now your name in the game is Ho. Like, it's just like, that is your name. So it's like you're trying to minimize her college education. You try minimizing Dr. Nicole's career. Like, where do you get the balls to do this, Larsa? That type of stuff annoys me so much. And she's like, I could take an online class. Let's petition and get Larsa to sign up for a Harvard class, and let's see how she ends up doing. Because Larsa, I really fear you have no brain cells left after all of the filler and injection you have done. But that is your toxic But It Is Tuesday episodes. The people that are being the most toxic to me is Larsa Pimpin Alexia, a lot of the Real Housewives of Miami cast, and Kiki, of course, on Miami. Who else was being toxic that I really wanted to talk about? Joe Gorga, of course. But the Miami ladies are being toxic towards Guerdy 110%. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in to Toxic But It Is Tuesday. Stay tuned for Friday's episode. Until the next time.
Period. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, What the Reality with me, Cashay Roberts. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Let me know what I should be doing. Let me know how I'm doing. All compliments are welcome. Until the next time.